Last week, thanks to Prime Video, I was sent the full season of The Boys Season 4, one of the most anticipated seasons of television of 2024, and I have plenty of thoughts. I finished the season last night, and I can't wait to talk about it with you guys, so let's get into it. So I'm going to spoil Season 3 in 3, 2, 1. In Season 3 of The Boys, it left a lot of questions that I was dying to see the answers to in Season 4. Season 3 was really electric with the introduction of Soldier Boy, that dynamic with Homelander, and obviously the ending of the season with Homelander killing someone in front of the masses and getting applause for it. It set up something that could be really juicy, and it does feel like that we're heading towards the conclusion. It has been confirmed that Season 5 will be the finale of The Boys. So I was very interested in seeing where Season 4 was going to build to, how it was going to build to the conclusion of the entire show, and how it was going to build off the amazing setup that Season 3 just had. There's been a lot of buzz around the ratings of this season because it is right now the lowest rated of any season of The Boys. And while I don't think it's a bad season, I can understand that score because I do think that Season 4 is a little bit underwhelming, even if it is a great season of television. I just don't think it fully capitalizes off what Season 3 had built. But that does not mean that there isn't anything to enjoy, because I think week to week you're going to really enjoy this show. It's The Boys, it's still written great, it has amazing characters, there's no betrayals of characters, it's not a terrible season, it's actually really good. It's better than most seasons of television that you could watch. But as I said, it just feels like a part 1 to an ending. It feels like all the build-up where Season 5 will ultimately be the payoff. So because of that, it just doesn't move with the urgency that I wanted to see from it until the latter stages of the season, which can feel a little bit frustrating and make you desire to see a little bit more from this show and give it a little bit more oomph and juice, because while there is plenty of humor, there's plenty of satire, there's some great tense moments, some great tense action, it's still not really carrying on from the things that I really wanted to see from what Season 3 had built up. I'm going to dance around any spoilers. I'm not going to talk about the final episodes at all. I'm just going to lightly talk about some characters and the overall arc of everything, but no details at all. So you're in a very safe space here. I do recommend, maybe if you're very guarded with wanting to know anything at all and you haven't seen any trailers and you're just trying to be in the dark as possible, maybe not watch this video, but I'm not going to be talking about anything that's going to give you a hint as to what happens in this season. So I would say, to me, one of the more interesting elements of this season was the dynamic between Ryan and Homelander. This dynamic has always been funny at points, it's been strange, it's been tense. Homelander is a very complex character that I really love. He is my favorite character in the entire show. I think whatever scene he is in is levels above anything else in this show. It is what I think most people come to see this show for. He's played brilliantly, and the dynamic that he has with his son and the way that this evolves is very interesting, especially with Ryan's attachment to Billy. There's always been that little bit of a tussle between these three, and this does go into some pretty interesting places with it. It does build very slowly, but you do see some really nice payoffs there and some really interesting moments that I really cannot wait to be seen explored in Season 5. And then going into talking about Homelander some more, I just cannot believe how well this character has been written for 4 seasons now. I mean, there's so many scenes with him that are just so intense, because at any moment, if you just set him off, if you say the wrong thing, it always feels like he's going to really become a threat and become like this.
Shut the fuck up, I will fucking laser you with alien fucking eyes and explode your fucking head.
Anthony Starr plays him so well, and it's just an amazing performance yet again. I mean, what more do I need to say? He is still such a great character, and I love what this season does with him. He is still the most interesting aspect of this show, and that just does not change at all in this season. Every scene with him is the highlight. I think it moves the story forward the most, and it's just interesting. It's intense. It's got that action. It's got that grotesque nature and that gore that you'd love to see from the boys. He delivers on every single level there, and I just loved so many sequences with this character and the way that it continues to evolve. Continuing on from that, with his group, the Seven, there are a couple of new characters, and they're nice additions for sure, and they do have pretty big impacts on the season. One is incredibly smart, and the other is almost like an Alex Jones figure that spreads a lot of misinformation, just saying a lot of nonsense. This season is very political. I do think The Boys in previous seasons has had a very satirical edge to it, but I do feel like season 4 ramped it up a lot. I do think people that love to call out woke stuff, people like Ben Shapiro, are going to hate the first few episodes of this season in particular, as it really dives into a lot of that stuff. But I think it was really well handled. I think it fits the narrative nicely as this season becomes more political, because the way that this is all headed, it just feels like a thing that you just cannot ignore. It has been a big deal in all of these seasons. It's the thing that holds the soups back, that political edge, and it just continues to be a present aspect in this show. But it does feel like there's more of a real world application in this season compared to some others. Other members of the Seven, like A-Train and Deep, are also quite interesting. I do like what happens with their characters. There is that comedic relief. There's just great moments with those characters. I think they're always going to be pretty nice elements to this show. Going back into that real world application, there's also a lot of criticism towards the entertainment industry, which I thought was quite interesting and a nice addition. It is very current as well. There's almost like a commentary on the strikes and the way that a lot of these corporations try to set up big universes. There is one moment that is such a direct parody of the MCU. It was hilarious. I absolutely love that moment, and the way that it satirized that was amazing. I would love more stuff like that in this show because it just works. It's so relevant. It's so funny. The only problem that I have with it is that this all does feel a little bit tone deaf when they're poking fun at these big corporations, when this is produced by a major corporation in of itself with Prime. So I just don't really think that Amazon saying all this stuff feels like the best person to carry this message forward. But if you just look at it as it is, it's pretty funny. Let's talk about another character that really pushes the narrative forward in all of the seasons of The Boys, and that is Billy the Butcher. I think that, once again, really great in this season. It is just another element to this show that I just love. Carl Urban plays this character so fucking well, and I just love what they do with him in this season. He's this lovable dick. He's so selfish. He's so self-centered, where he does feel like a bad person at times, but then you can't help but love him because he does have a soft spot to him. And the way that this season plays with that is excellent. I really love, in particular, what this does with this character by the end of this season. And I don't want to talk about that at all, but I just love what they did with the characters. Then there's other characters which haven't always been the most interesting to me. I'm sure other people love them, but they're just never been ones that drew me in. Huey, he does have some interesting moments in this season, so I actually really liked a lot of what they did with him. He kind of goes through the Pain Olympics a little bit, which you can't help but feel bad for the guy and what he's been dragged into from season 1, and the way that just continues to evolve as every season progresses. I think the character's nice. He does have that human element to it all. So I think that out of all of the seasons of The Boys, this is one of the better ones for Huey in my eyes. Starlight is fine. She's just doing her thing. And Frenchie and Kimiko also have a very interesting arc. It is kind of similar to what you've seen in the other seasons. They've never been the characters that have interested me the most, but there is a lot more context and backstory for those characters that makes them a lot more interesting in my eyes. They're still not my favorites, but I do think they improve a lot as characters in this season. Also, all of the gore, all the weird sexual stuff, everything like that that makes this very R-rated in nature is all still there. There's some very creative things that I just can't believe that these guys just keep coming up with, especially with the sexual stuff. I mean, in season 3, they did some pretty balls to the wall stuff. It was just crazy in all these different ways. And there is stuff like that in this season, and it's played off for comedy, and I think it's pretty funny with what it does. And some of the gore and some moments are a little bit wacky and zany. It really is just a great combination of that violence with levity and a more lighter touch that doesn't make this feel too graphic or too intense or anything like that. It's just fun, and this season just continues to do that. Overall, I do think The Boys season 4 is a great season of television. It just is missing a lot of urgency in the first 5 or so episodes with small progressions. It does feel like a lot of fun. It is fun to watch it, and I'm sure week to week you're going to have a blast watching it. However, Season 3 really moved things forward incredibly fast with all these new developments and very interesting new characters like Soldier Boy. This one kind of is missing something in those first 5 episodes that made me feel like it just wasn't getting to where I needed it to, especially with Season 5 being the finale. However, episodes 6, 7, 8 do add a lot of urgency and push the narrative forward in very interesting ways, in shocking ways that I can't wait for you to see, because it is just very, very cool and interesting and does set up Season 5 in probably the best way possible. I think this finale of this show is going to be an absolute blast. I love where it is headed. I just think it opens up so many possibilities for where this could all go. Once again, I really can't say any more than that. I don't want to ruin this season for you, but I do think that if you're a fan of The Boys, you're going to have a lot of fun here. It is a step down from Season 3, so just keep your expectations in check, but there's still a lot of fun to be had and some great developments with all of these amazing characters. As a score, I'm going to give The Boys Season 4 a 4 out of 5. I think it's a great season of television. If it did have that urgency, that would have been a lot better. And those are my thoughts towards The Boys Season 4. I'm sorry I can't really go into more detail. Really so much that I could reveal that I just don't want to. I don't want to be that guy. I really want you to enjoy it for yourself. This is me just dancing around so much stuff, and honestly, I just can't wait for you guys to check it all out. If you love my content, please consider becoming a member. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.